Hello everybody, welcome to Rewrite Your Reality with Reese. I'm your host, and a lot of people ask me, especially yesterday or the day before that, this very similar question. What do I do when I still feel waves of anxiety or fear even while I'm doing affirmations and inner work? Should I push harder? Should I spend more quality time doing that inner work and knowing myself, or should I just repeat more affirmations, right? Here's the truth of the matter. Your anxiety that you feel doesn't block you because you are actually not the version of you that one, felt the anxiety, two, are remembering yourself feeling that anxiety, or three, putting that version of yourself feeling anxious in the future. You're not any of them. You are reality. You are experiencing the reality where a past, a maybe now, and a possible future involves you having and feeling anxious. And usually you're feeling anxious about a certain outcome happening or a certain outcome not happening. Now here's the thing. Those outcomes don't matter. They don't change anything. They're only there to serve as a way to feel a certain idea. It doesn't really matter what that idea is. It makes no difference because no matter what the idea is, you are the one still telling the story. Does it feel good? No, it doesn't, right? I'm not saying it's going to feel good. I'm not going to say it's going to continue feeling bad. What I am saying is that when you realize there's nothing you actually need to do with it, the fact that it is no longer your preference means it's already unfolding into it not continuously being your reality any longer. But if you keep trying to fix it, reality is going to give you something to fix. It's very simple. If you keep thinking, I need to fix things, I'm continuously fixing things, reality will break stuff, or rather you will experience the broken version of that experience, trying to fix it over and over again, right? Anxious behavior, anxious feelings, anxiety, it doesn't create anything, right? It doesn't prevent anything either. It simply is an experience, right? It's a passing version of you, and you're just remembering it again. So you can, one, either just acknowledge that, hey, this is not my choice, I'm going to feel it fully and leave it there. Or imagine how you would prefer it to have gone. Like not feeling anxious, feeling completely natural regardless of whatever whirlwind, hurricane, three-dimensional experience you are experiencing. Just simply choose who you are again. The moment you shift into remembering who you really are, which is reality, the anxiousness of, whatever you are feeling, the assumption, the thoughts you are feeling, don't really feel that big to you anymore. I think, oh, okay, well, whatever. If I'm reality and my reality is always assured, regardless of whatever happens or doesn't happen, I'm going to allow myself to feel it completely. And time and effort are really not the answer, right? Because one, there isn't any kind or amount of time that amounts to anything, and no amount of effort will get you something. You know this already. You spent hours doing stuff and you've tried your hardest doing something else. It didn't work. Why? Because the time and the effort are not actually prerequisites to get something. They are nothing more than experiences within the something you already have. Right? It's not about 3 hours a day of affirmations and inner work. You are already perfect. You are already the creator. Trying to fix yourself only keeps the illusion that you are broken alive, but you're not. It's just a version of you, right? You might as well be looking at a scene where a character is crying, thinking that I need to rewind this and change it so they can get to the ending better. No, that's not who you are. You are the entire movie stream of all movies itself. Which one are you choosing to watch? So thoughts and fears, right? Thoughts as well, popular one. Many people wonder, what do I do with them then? What do I do with these fearful thoughts that manifest? Do I do anything with them? Do they manifest? No, they don't. What happens is that you focus on them so much and you think you need to solve them. That's what's manifesting. You trying to figure out this thing, right? This idea, or you being afraid of this idea. Thoughts and doubts and fears, they are already manifestations in and of themselves. You've already experienced it, right? They don't exist outside of your awareness, and they have no power on their own. So regardless if they do manifest because you were focused on being that version of yourself, you realize, hey, no matter how many times it unfolds physically or non-physically inside of me, inside of my awareness, it doesn't matter, because what's only manifesting is me. When you always make that returning to whatever happens, it's me happening, then none of that stuff matters, right? And you can just go back always continuously to your desired version of reality because you prefer it, because it's fun, because it lights you up, because you lighting up your reality lights you up. Why? Because you are one, right? The ego and the spirals that we have. When your ego drags you into these spirals of anger and betrayal, or rather it feels like your ego is dragging you into these feelings of anger and betrayal, and you feel like you're on this hamster wheel going or up and down but going nowhere, remember, you are the hamster, you are the wheel, you are everything about your ego, you are your anger, you are your sadness, you are your love, you are your betrayal, you are your suffering, you are whatever, you are everything. You are literally everything in combination. You are the awareness observing yourself. So whatever you are observing is you, but you are the observer, right? The observer taking the form of what it's observing. The observer taking the form of whatever it is observing. At the moment you rest in that awareness, you see the cycle has no real power, right? You'll basically just leave it alone and it stops on its own and gets tired. Here's the thing, right? Your ego is, and this is going to be a bit of a jump here. Your ego is nothing more than a version of your self-concept manifesting as images, thoughts, and ideas. You see, you can have basically two self-concepts here. One, you are this human person only, and then what we call the ego is coming from that self-concept, which is basically thoughts, feelings, ideas, where your human self has to, one, work really hard, spend a lot of time doing something, trying to figure out stuff. Then you have thoughts that we call the ego that are very human body pointed, if you want to say something about that, right? That's what we basically are referring to, the ego. The ego and having those thoughts, oh no, I had a bad day, let me go and wallow in self-pity somewhere, right? We call that ego. But what is it really? Those thoughts are actually God's divine thoughts as well. Why? There's only God. There's no such thing as an ego that does its own thing. It's only your self-concept that are bringing you those thoughts from the divine mind itself. Why do they exist? Because even if you imagine your end is comprised of your physical self doing things that it does. Those doing things are part of the unfolding. They're not to get to your end. They're just part of the unfolding of your end. They have to actually exist. But if you're only seeing that because you only believe you are that is your end now, that doing. But if you let doing be done for you, as in no matter what you end up doing, it was part of the frame because it lit you up in the moment, and even if that means doing nothing, that's perfectly okay, because you realize I am God and I am in my end anyway. That's who you are. That's what the ego is. Nothing more than a thought process, a thought of a self-concept that isn't entirely true, right? It's like watching a movie through a tiny peephole. That's all you're doing. That's what the ego is. That's more that. The ego is just that, the tiny viewpoint of reality, whereas this entire thing is the entirety of reality, but even that isn't, right? About meditation, frequencies, and vibrations, right? Not needed, really. You don't really need to do any of that. You don't need to meditate. You don't need to worry about your frequencies. You don't need to worry about vibrations. You don't need to worry about whatever. Why? Whatever you do in the physical world, when you meditate physically, when you are concentrating on your frequencies and vibrations and whatever else, when you try to calm yourself, realize all of that is a manifestation of your own beingness. They are manifestations of you refocusing your attention. They are permission slips in order for you to just imagine who you desire to be. The simplest thing in the world. Who do I desire to be? That. I imagine myself as that. I am that. End of story. But from a human point, sometimes you want the physical tactileness of a light switch, which comes in the form of meditation, frequencies, vibrations, scripting, typing, imagining something, right? Something. We do that. It's okay, it's perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with them, but you must realize the constant thing in all of these is why they all work, is because it's your own attention that's being shifted. That's it, right? The fact that you are aware of what you want means you are already tuned into it, right? You've already become it. You've already knowing it, right? These practices are just permission slips to let yourself say, yes, I am this now. So here's the thing. If you think about a TV set, or Netflix even, right? That's as a common thing. Netflix can't tune into something that isn't on the platform. And as we go about becoming more, realizing more of who we are, Netflix is including more things into its library. Might not be of any interest to you, but it is there. That's what you are. You're just becoming aware of what's already inside of you. Might not be of interest to you, but it is the completeness of who you are. You cannot imagine and you cannot click on something that does not exist in the library of who you are already. And if it's there, clickable, knowing that you know, imaginable, assumable, that means it's there, it's done, it exists. So there's no need to actually go and do anything just to give yourself permission of clicking. Right? Essential realization. Stop trying to fix yourself. Stop trying to fight your fears. Stop trying to fight your doubts. Stop trying to fight your confusion. None of that touches the real you. It can only come from the real you. It's not a part of you. The real you is never anxious, doubtful, or broken. It's only temporary images passing through your own awareness, temporary stories, temporary moments, temporary paragraphs, temporary sentences, temporary words, temporary points of view. You are awareness, the creator, and the one, and one with the reality, because you are reality. You are the one reality, right? So whenever you feel stuck in these thoughts, this anxiousness, just realize, hey, this is a temporary feeling. I'm going to allow it fully. Imagine what I prefer, or not at all, because it's already who I am, and go about my day. That's all. I did have an idea here for a picture to explain reality. I'm just going to go through it, right? I'm going to draw it. This is how it goes. You see, we typically think that we are this. Right? We typically think we are this 3D version of ourselves surrounded by reality. But this is actually coming from this. When I say coming from, I mean it's happening within it. This is the real you. And you can focus on becoming anything. You see, because what this does is it's being all the viewpoints in all of reality. So it's being me, it's being you, it's being everyone. But it's being me, it's being you entirely, right? Forgetting it's everything else, simultaneously being everything else. So that focus has a focus of awareness. Yes, there is a hyper fixated point where there is a 3D world being created, and it is experiencing the 3D world. But that 3D world is actually within its awareness. And when you imagine, you shift your focus into imagination, or as imagination, or completely focused onto being imagination. And what you are choosing also exists in here, is now given light, given knowing, given beingness here as a story. And this story actually is completed already. It's got the whole thing, right? It's got the entire thing laid out for you. And you are basically imagining a certain point in that frame, in that reality, in that film roll. And there's an infinite number of film rolls inside of this I am awareness. That's what you are. That's what you are truly doing. So when you are experiencing anxiety, it's nothing more than a frame inside this infinite beingness. So you are that. So, hope you like that. Sure you do. I like it. Thank you all for being here. Much love, much light. Thank you for the questions. Thank you for the reaching out. Thank you for the TikTok following. Thank you for the Facebook following. Thank you for the liking, joining, subscribing, and I will see you all in the next one.